It was supposed to be a light-hearted morning on Lorraine, ITV's beloved breakfast show known for its cozy tone and easy charm. The guest of the day was none other than Sean Bean, the legendary actor behind iconic roles in Game of Thrones, Sharp, and The Lord of the Rings. Fans had been eagerly waiting to see him, relaxed, witty, and candid, chatting about his new BBC drama. But what unfolded live on air was anything but the warm, easy-going conversation everyone expected. Lorraine Kelly, known for her friendly yet firm interviewing style, started the conversation gently enough. "Sean, it's lovely to have you here," she began with her trademark smile. "You've played so many characters who die in spectacular ways. Do you ever wish one of them just survived for a change?" Sean chuckled at first. I've heard that joke a few times," he replied, his Sheffield accent carrying its usual rough warmth. "But that's acting, isn't it? You take the hits, die well, and move on." The audience laughed. Lorraine laughed. For a moment, everything was perfectly normal. But then, Lorraine turned to the subject of his reputation, the one topic Sean Bean's PR team had quietly requested to avoid. "You've got this image," she said, leaning forward, "of being a bit of a rebel on set. A bit difficult, maybe. Is that fair?" Sean's smile faltered. "Depends who you ask," he said evenly. Lorraine pressed on. "Well, some people have said you're not the easiest co-star to work with. You know, a bit intense, even intimidating." "I mean, there were those reports from the broken set." Sean interrupted, visibly irritated now. "With all due respect, Lorraine, that's not true. I take my work seriously, that's all. People talk." The tension in the room shifted. Lorraine, perhaps sensing she'd hit a nerve, tried to lighten the mood. "Oh, don't get cross with me, Sean," she said with a laugh that sounded more nervous than natural. "I'm not cross," he said sharply. "But if we're here to talk about gossip instead of the actual work, then maybe I shouldn't have come." The audience went silent. Lorraine blinked, clearly surprised by his tone. "I'm only asking what people at home want to know," she replied, trying to keep control. "You've got to admit, you've got a bit of a fiery side." Sean leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. "Fiery's one word for it. Maybe honest is another. I don't play along with fake stuff, that's all." By now, the easy rhythm of the show had completely vanished. Lorraine's cue cards trembled slightly in her hands. The producers behind the cameras were waving their arms, trying to steer the conversation back to safer ground. "Let's talk about your new project, The Accused," Lorraine said quickly. "It's a very powerful story about redemption and guilt." But Sean cut in again. "You know, Lorraine, you're asking me about a character who's judged unfairly by people who don't know him. Maybe there's a bit of irony there, don't you think?" There was a brief, awkward laugh from the audience, the kind that comes when people aren't sure if they're supposed to be laughing. Lorraine's smile tightened. "Well, I think people are just curious," she said. "And curiosity's fine," Sean said, his tone low but firm. "But twisting things for headlines, that's not curiosity, that's bait." Lorraine shifted in her seat. "We're not here to bait you, Sean," she replied. "This is just a chat." He gave a short, humorless laugh. "Doesn't feel like one." The cameras caught the discomfort like a magnifying glass on fire. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. A producer whispered into Lorraine's earpiece, urging her to cut to commercial. But before she could, Sean stood up. "You know what," he said, removing his microphone, "I think I'll let you finish your chat without me." Lorraine blinked in disbelief. "Sean, are you serious? We're live." But he was already walking off stage. The studio door swung behind him, leaving a stunned Lorraine and a frozen audience. The control room cut hastily to an advertisement break, a cheery supermarket jingle that only made the moment more surreal. When the show returned, Lorraine appeared visibly flustered but tried to regain her composure. "Well," she said with a shaky laugh, "that was unexpected. Sean Bean, everyone. Always unpredictable." Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Within minutes, clips of the incident went viral on social media. Viewers were divided. Some said Lorraine had pushed him too far, while others felt Sean had overreacted. The hashtag Sean Bean storms off began trending within the hour. A source close to the show later claimed that Sean had warned producers he wouldn't tolerate tabloid rubbish, but the topic was still brought up. "He felt ambushed," the insider said. He's passionate, and when he thinks someone's being unfair, he doesn't hide it. Meanwhile, Sean himself took to X, formerly Twitter, later that evening with a brief statement. Greater than, didn't walk out because I'm angry. Walked out because I've got better things to say than answer gossip. Lorraine, on her end, tried to defuse the situation on the next day's show. Sean's a brilliant actor, she said diplomatically. Sometimes things get heated. That's live TV for you. But even days later, fans continued debating who was right and who crossed the line. What was meant to be a simple morning interview had turned into one of the most talked about live TV moments of the year, and a reminder that even seasoned pros like Lorraine Kelly can find themselves caught in a storm when they least expect it. The morning after Sean Bean's dramatic exit from Lorraine, headlines exploded across every major entertainment site. Sean Bean storms off live TV. Lorraine Kelly left speechless after clash with actor. Unbelievable morning show meltdown. Clips of the walkout flooded social media, racking up millions of views within hours. Some fans defended Sean fiercely. He's right, Lorraine shouldn't ambush guests. Others sided with Lorraine. It's her job to ask the tough questions. By midday, ITV's press office was forced to issue a statement. Greater than, Lorraine's conversation with Sean Bean became unexpectedly tense. We respect Sean's passion for his craft and wish him the best with his upcoming projects. The language was diplomatic, but behind the scenes, tensions were far from settled. Lorraine's production team held an emergency meeting that same afternoon. According to a source in the studio, Lorraine was visibly shaken. She's been doing this job for decades, the insider said. She's had disagreements before, but never anything like that, especially live. Meanwhile, Sean Bean's representatives weren't happy either. His agent, Mark Sanders, released a short but pointed message. Greater than, Sean came on to promote his latest drama, not to revisit misleading tabloid stories. He values open, honest interviews, not provocation. Still, the damage was done. By the following morning, paparazzi were camped outside both Lorraine Kelly's and Sean Bean's homes. ITV executives, worried about reputational fallout, quietly reached out to Sean's management to smooth things over. They wanted to avoid turning a PR headache into a full-blown feud. But Sean wasn't ready to talk. In an exclusive interview days later with The Guardian, he finally opened up. Sitting in a quiet London cafe, he spoke candidly, not as a celebrity, but as a man tired of being misunderstood. People forget we're human, he said. When you've worked hard for years, it's frustrating to see your life reduced to gossip. I've made mistakes, sure, but I've also spent my life telling stories that mean something. I'm not some tabloid villain. When asked if he regretted walking off Lorraine's show, Sean paused. I don't regret standing up for myself, he said. But I do wish it hadn't gone that way. Lorraine's good at what she does. I just didn't expect that kind of conversation. Lorraine, on her end, handled the situation with her trademark calm. On the following week's episode, she addressed the incident again, this time with more reflection. Look, live TV can be unpredictable, she said with a gentle smile. Sean's a wonderful actor. Sometimes emotions run high. No hard feelings. But her tone carried a subtle note of exhaustion. It was clear the whole ordeal had left its mark. Interestingly, the controversy had an unexpected side effect. Sean's upcoming drama, The Accused, saw a massive spike in online searches and trailer views. Fans who hadn't planned to watch it were now suddenly curious. He's real, one Twitter user wrote. I like that he doesn't play the media game. Producers couldn't have asked for better publicity, even if it came wrapped in chaos. Yet behind the scenes, Sean was rethinking how he dealt with the press. Close friends said he had grown increasingly wary of interviews and public appearances. He's old school, one colleague noted. He's from a time when actors acted and the work spoke for itself. This era of constant cameras and clickbait doesn't sit right with him. Still, life has a strange way of turning drama into redemption. 2 weeks later, Sean received an unexpected phone call, from Lorraine herself. Sean, it's Lorraine, her familiar Scottish lilt came through the line. I just wanted to say, no hard feelings, truly. We've both had our say. Maybe someday you'll come back on the show. Proper chat this time. There was a pause. Then Sean laughed softly. Only if we talk about Sharp, he replied. Lorraine chuckled. Deal. The tension that had dominated headlines for days melted into something more human, two professionals acknowledging a moment that got out of hand. Later that month, Sean surprised everyone when he appeared, unannounced, at an awards ceremony where Lorraine was hosting. When she spotted him in the audience, her eyes widened in amusement. "Well," she said into the microphone, "I didn't expect to see you here again." Sean stood and gave a small, good-natured bow. The audience erupted in laughter and applause. It was a public truce, and perhaps, in its own way, a perfect ending to the saga. After the event, a photo of the two smiling together backstage went viral. The caption, posted from Lorraine's own account, read, "Greater than, all's well that ends well heart #live TV moments #Sean Bean." In the weeks that followed, the story faded from headlines. But for both of them, it left a quiet lesson, about pride, perception, and the unpredictable world of live television. Sean went back to work, this time keeping interviews short and focused strictly on his projects. Lorraine carried on with her show, her warmth undimmed, though a little more cautious when broaching personal topics. Yet for viewers, that one morning would never be forgotten. It had everything: drama, honesty, and humanity. A rare, unscripted moment when two strong personalities collided, and the world watched every second.